So I want to tell you a remarkable story about a fellow in Mexico. His name is Jacobo Sharem. Now, I had the great chus to meet Jacobo, and he told me this story. This story happened in 1985. You see, Jacobo Sharem went through college. He was not religious. He was married to Sophia, and every time he built a building, he was a fabulous architect. He built a building, he sold it, made a lot of money, and then eventually he built another building. And this went higher and higher and higher till he was able to build beautiful business offices. And finally, you reach that level when you can't sell it. And that's what happened. He built this gorgeous building in downtown Mexico, and he just couldn't sell it. It's just his mortgage and whatever he had to pay for it was just so much that nobody was willing to rent there. Very few people. And he was trying to sell it. Now, as he was going through this process of trying to sell this building, there was a kollel, and there still is there, the Aram Tzova kollel in Polanco. There's two places in Mexico where Yiddishkeit really flourishes. Now, the first one, Polanco, takes me 5 seconds to learn. But the second place, if you ever go there, you got to take lessons to pronounce it. It's Tecamachalco. Now, if you could pronounce that after the first time, you're good. But it took me a while to get used to that name. But this was in Polanco. And there was a fellow whose name was Shia Deutsch, and he had met Jacobo Sharem, and he was talking to him about Yiddishkeit, becoming frum, and he started convincing him to come to shul on Shabbos. He wasn't Shemesh Shabbos, but he would come Friday night. He had come a few times, and now it turned out that he was trying to sell this building, and there were two fellows that came from a foreign country. They heard about the building, and they said they were interested in buying it. And the negotiations started late Thursday night and carried into Friday. And Jacobo realized that these guys are taking a lot of time. And he wants to get to shul. He's not frum yet. He's not a Sabbath observer. But he's been going the last couple of weeks. He didn't want to break that cycle that he had, going to shul every Shabbos. And he says to the two guys, look, it's 1 o'clock. By 3 o'clock, I'm out of here because I've got to go to my synagogue. And if we don't finish the negotiations, we're going to have to continue Sunday or Monday. And they said, we're leaving tomorrow. And we know you're desperate to sell this building. So either you'll stay with us, and we've got to check all the offices and the insurance and the safety, everything in the building. And if we can do it by 3, fine. Otherwise, you're going to have to stay. He says, I'm not staying. And they couldn't believe it. He's not going to stay. He's trying to get rid of this building. And he tells them he's not going to stay. And sure enough, 3 o'clock comes. And he says, gentlemen, the negotiations are finished. I'll see you Monday. They said, you won't. We're leaving tomorrow. And they did. And he told me that night when he was in shul, and he came home to his wife, Sophia, he said, maybe I'm crazy. I've gone a few weeks in a row, so what if I would have missed tonight? Imagine we could have sold the building, and I'd go back next week. But he knew in his heart that he did the right thing. It was very painful, very, very costly, but he knew that he did the right thing. 2 weeks later, you could look it up, September 19th, 1985, was the worst catastrophic earthquake in the history of Mexico. 2 weeks after that Shabbos, it was the middle of the days of Slichas. 4,541 people were killed, 14,236 were injured, and it even added because there was aftershocks a day later. Just about every single building in downtown Mexico collapsed, except one, Jacobo's building. And of course, after everything settled, and the government realized they don't have a building, and many of the corporations realized they don't have office space, he was able to rent the office space in that building at such astronomical prices. And eventually he was able to sell that building that he became so wealthy, far beyond anything that he could ever have imagined. And once he sold that building, he became a Shemesh Shabbos. He never told anybody this story. Everybody knew he sold the building, but nobody realized how it happened until he made his first Siyum Masechta, When he finished a Gemara with Shia Deutsch, he took pictures. He had pictures taken from the air. It was before drones, but they had helicopters that took pictures. You saw the whole downtown of Mexico that was devastated. Only his building. And he told me, Ki Eshmer HaShabbos, Kel Yishmereni. Because I watched Shabbos, Hashem watched me.